After kicking off the season at Lydden Hill, we've travelled here to a gloriously sunny Pembrey race circuit here in South Wales for round 2 of the 2013 Maxxis British Drift Championship. A month's break has given enough time for all the drivers to sort out any issues with their cars ready for this weekend. So, let's go drifting. So as you can see, everyone's getting set up and ready to go. Let's have a quick recap of what happened at round 1 at Lydden Hill.
Matt Samuel showing some fantastic angle in the 300 ZX. Matt Samuel taking the win at round 1. On the door. Great initiation, and Jay White hunting him down. An error from Jay White forcing him into the gravel. Jay Green taking the first spot. Mark Looney with a correction there. I'm sure the judges will have seen that. And another straight there from Mark Looney. An early initiation from Paul Smith. Fantastic proximity. So taking the top spot is Paul Smith. So having viewed the highlights from round 1, let's see where the drivers qualified here at round 2. So Oliver Silcock took the top spot with 70 points, competing in his first BDC season and his second ever round. Great result for Oliver. Stephen Donnelly took second and Matt Stevenson took third.
The car's going really well. I've got a borrowed turbo. Lucky enough, Walton Smith lent me a turbo. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this afternoon to get out and go and mix that with the good guys.
So Richard Grindrod scored those 3 extra bonus points for qualifying first in the Pro class. Chris Smith came in second, with Portugal's Hugo Fernandez coming in third.
Qualifying went very well actually. Qualified 17th, so it's top 32, which means I get to the battles. And yeah, I had a really good time. The track, again, is awesome. Pembrey's awesome.
So with 5 points split in the Super Pro class, it was a very closely fought qualification, with Brendan Stone taking the top spot, David Wartworth in second and Paul Smith in third place.
Qualifying went really well. Obviously I come 12th. Had an issue with my alternator, which I had to sit in the pits for a while. Took another battery off a teammate's car, went back out with a bit of red mist in my head, and just went for it, and obviously qualified 12th, so yeah, really happy.
Ben, you've been part of British drifting from the start. You've obviously been to Europe, won there, and now you're back. Can you talk to me about how the sport has changed here in Britain?
To be honest, it's just got a lot bigger. It's kind of weird because drifting went through a phase where it really grew, and then it shrunk. So a lot of the series died out. But BDC's got a formula that works. There's a whole load of people here, all the different classes. It's just impressive that the event's so big, even discounting the spectators, you know, the competitors, it's huge. So it's really moved forwards. But it's nice that it's kind of like the old days again now, because a lot of the old guys have come back in. So I'm here with not only a whole load of faces I don't know, but a lot of my friends as well, who I've known for many, many years. I still think the roots of drifting are you know, normal cars, people just having fun, and I kind of like to try and
back in the street as such.
Yeah, exactly. Like people just having a laugh, and to do that, you know, it's not all about perfect presentation. It's about having a car that does the job.
With the sun shining down and the temperatures rising, the track's going to be nice and dry and hot, which means we're going to have a lot of smoke. But first, I'm going to pass you over to Matt, who's going to talk to us about something slightly different from the norm.
Thanks, Corin. Right, here with Timo's little weapon for the weekend. This is a Black Smoke Racing Mercedes C-Class estate. Looks like a normal setup? No. We've got a diesel to start with, which is I think the first UK drift car that I've ever seen running a diesel engine. And obviously you'd expect a turbo to give him the power to make it competitive. But no, turbocharger's not enough. It's got a supercharger on there as well. Supercharger turbo, that's not enough for Timo either. Walk this way. He's also got nitrous oxide in the back of this car. Now that is absolutely epic. Pushing the envelope. Make sure you look out for this car in the battles later. The cocktail of smoke that this car puts out is absolutely brilliant. White smoke along with the black smoke, just epic. This is what we want to see from the drivers. Keep an eye out for this car. Let's check out some runs.
So as the sun beats down here at Pembrey Circuit, it's time for the top 16 battles, and first up we are going to see Nick Statham versus Joseph Ankers. So Nick Statham will be the lead car in the R33 into this first run as they head into the tight hairpin here at Pembrey Circuit and the first clipping zone. The judges have then asked the drivers to transition over to that second clipping point and then into this third clipping zone where the rumble strips are. And to finish the run, the guys need to be as wide as possible, which isn't the natural line here to take when drifting. Joseph Ankers is now going to be the lead car. Great entry from both of these drivers, with Nick Statham looking much closer here on this second run as he's chasing Joseph Ankers in the Carlo for you 1-via. They're pushing it round onto these rumble strips with Joseph straightening there. That will be marked down by the judges. I expect Nick Statham will take the win here on this run. So we're into our third place battle and Lee Barry is off the circuit. Stuart Egdahl is going to try and use that huge mistake made by Lee Barry to his advantage. He's got to try and drift the remainder of the circuit without making a mistake to the severity of Lee Barry's in order to gain the advantage here in this first run. Lee is going to try and hunt him down, but the gap has just grown. Lee Barry now into the first corner as the lead car. Stuart Egdahl showing good angle. However, straightening through that first section, Lee's going to try and gain an advantage and put pressure on Stuart Egdahl to make a mistake. However, Stuart just needs to keep it on the tarmac in order to take the win here and take the third spot. So we're straight into our semi-pro final. Nick Statham with a fantastic early initiation. Damon Haskett, a poor entry there compared to Nick's entry into that first corner. So Nick will take the advantage there in that first section, and he's extending the gap here from Damon Haskett in the E30 BMW. So Nick will be gaining a huge advantage with the judges. Quite a few corrections from Damon. We'll have to wait and see what's in store in the second run. So we're straight into our second battle. Damon Haskett in the E30, the lead car, but Nick Statham with a fantastic entry there into that first corner, showing close proximity to Damon Haskett. One wheel off the track is acceptable, ladies and gentlemen. Damon Haskett making some corrections into the second section. However, Nick Statham with that advantage in the first run may just be able to take the top spot here on the podium. We'll have to wait and see what the judges say. So the results are in, and Nick Statham did take the top spot with 28 points in that advantage in the first run. Damon Haskett took the second spot and Lee Barry the third place on the podium. Nick Statham uses that as an advantage to extend his lead in the championship, and you can see 49 points starting to run away after round two. Let's see what Nick's got to say about that.
I kind of created a big gap, which you know, was the big, huge difference in power difference really, and the grip level because he's running skinnier tyres. The track temperature was really good. I was really doing well on tyres, not scrubbing out too much really. I thought I'd be chewing them up, being at its top end third gear, but no, it went really well. Whole weekend a blast.
So we're into our pro class. We've got Jay White from Team M&M with a fantastic flick and a great entry into that first corner. Jay White running slightly wide though, allowing TJ Burney to try and close that gap. But into that second section you can see Team M&M's Jay White extending the gap from TJ, but TJ is not giving up this first run without a fight. He is chasing Jay White down through this final section. We'll have to wait and see what's in store in the second run. And the second run is here. We've got TJ Burney as the lead car. Jay White, fantastic driving, really tight to that clipping point and putting pressure on TJ all the time. However, a straighten there from Jay White, which the judges will have spotted. Can TJ use that for his advantage? Jay White powering it into that third section, and he collides with TJ Burney as both drivers cross the line. Straight into the next battle. Nigel Moody in the lead car. Dirt drops into that first corner. Anthony Mortley with a late initiation, but Anthony will use the power of that R324 to try and close the gap on Nigel Moody. Nigel showing great commitment, but a few corrections, unlike the smooth driving of Anthony Mortley on that first run. We'll have to wait and see what the judges say, but meanwhile we're straight into our second battle. Anthony Mortley, the lead car, and Nigel Moody showing great commitment, trying to catch up with Anthony Mortley, who is using the power in that R324 to his advantage as he goes into that second section. Nigel in the chase car dropping a wheel and almost taking out our cameraman, narrowly missing the barrier. Looking at the replay, just look at the speed as Nigel leaves the track. A scary moment, you'll agree, for any driver. So we're into our third and fourth place battle. It's the V8 RX-7 of Gert Hockman, all the way from Belgium, versus Chris Smith in the S14A. Gert Hockman, as the lead car, is going to try and gain an advantage on Chris Smith as he's chasing him into that final section. Just look, ladies and gentlemen, at the smoke that these cars are producing in this hot summer weather. Straight back into the second run, Chris Smith as the lead car running wide, and Gert Hockman using that for an overtake. The judges did explain that that overtake would have to be made safely in that first corner in order for it to stand, and Gert seems to pull that one off perfectly. So it's straight into our Pro Class final. We've got Anthony Mortley as the lead car in the V8 R324 with Carlo Fayuse, Alex Law in the S14A, the chase car. Anthony Mortley is using the power that he's got from that V8 to gain an advantage from Alex Law. However, Alex Law with some nice smooth drifting, but I don't think it'll be enough to take the advantage from Anthony Mortley in that first run. Straight into our second battle. Alex Law as the lead car with a great early initiation, and as you can see, running wide. Anthony Mortley looking to try and take an overtake, but blocking Alex Law's transition. The judges will frown on that. So Anthony Mortley moves into the lead car. However, Alex Law is hunting the car of Anthony Mortley on that second battle. We'll have to wait and see what the judges decide for that battle, ladies and gentlemen, with the results. And I can tell you that Alex Law does take the top spot from Anthony Mortley, who blocked the transition, and Gert Hockman there taking the third place in the V8 RX-7 from Chris Smith. So Alex Law's consistency over round 1 and 2 gives him the top spot in the Pro Class Championship, with Jay Green second behind him and Jay White in third.
We've come through all sorts, the whole team's come through all sorts of mad problems we've had, you know, from steering racks failing to a crank pulley shearing off, just weird things going wrong, but generally we've all sort of, we've come through it, we've done as a team brilliantly. I'm really pleased.
So time for a short break, but make sure you stick around to see the Super Pro class. Welcome back to the Maxxis British Drift Championship here at Pembrey, where our attention moves through to the Super Pro class. So our first battle in the Super Pro class is Simon Perry in the Team Lassa R33 going up against fellow teammate Jody Fletcher in the borrowed Team Japspeed Lexus IS200. Simon Perry using his skill and experience behind the wheel of that R33 to his advantage to pull a gap and an advantage from Jody Fletcher, who in a borrowed car driving fantastic here at the Pembrey circuit. So we switch it around for battle number 2. Jody Fletcher in the IS200 into the corner first with a nice initiation, suffering from slight problems to the power steering on the Team Japspeed IS200, but making it work for him. A slight dirt drop there, but Simon Perry loses losing a wheel as he dirt drops into that hole that some of the runs have previously made here, and managing to get it across the finish line as that wheel strays across the circuit. I think we should take another look at that again. So we're on to our next battle, which is Black Smoke Racing Timu versus Chris Hawkins, and Timu in the diesel turbo supercharged with nitrous powered Mercedes-Benz estate. Black Smoke Racing is their name, and as you can see, that's not just tyre smoke, ladies and gentlemen, but that is the black smoke from that diesel engine as they smoke out Chris Hawkins, who in his S13 put in a fantastic chase run. So we've got Chris Hawkins as the lead car, and Timu in the Black Smoke Racing Mercedes is chasing him down. However, Timu seems to be struggling a little bit there, and perhaps maybe a problem with that car. Chris Hawkins, meanwhile, is just using that to his advantage and putting in a fantastic and consistent run. And Timu limping the car back, so our thoughts were correct. So we're into our next battle, and we've got Brendan Stone all the way over from Ireland, and friend and Team Wicked driver Barry Leonard there in the 180SX, chasing Brendan Stone as he drifts his 2JZ Altezza around the Pembrey circuit, showing exactly why he qualified in the first place spot. So good driving from both drivers, but meanwhile Barry Leonard now as the lead car, and Brendan Stone, who qualified first, is in close proximity. He's going to transition and then try and get underneath Barry Leonard through this second section. Fantastic drifting from both of these drivers, and Brendan Stone putting in a great chase run to take the advantage from Barry Leonard. So straight into our semi-final, V10 powered S15 of David Waterworth versus the 2JZ powered E36 estate of Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall putting in some fantastic runs this weekend. A small correction there from Mike Marshall, however, not enough to put him off his drift, and he is there throughout that run chasing David Waterworth down. So they switch it around, and it's a fantastic flick and a great entry from both drivers. However, David Waterworth running wide, allowing Mike Marshall to use that for his advantage, and using that 2JZ powered E36 to pull a fantastic gap, smoking out David Waterworth, who with one wheel off track makes a correction to try and keep up. So straight into our next semi-final, we've got Brendan Stone on top qualifier going up against Steve Moore, Mr. Consistent in the BDC, and it's a fantastic entry. Steve Moore rubbing the rear bumper there, and you can see the tyre mark where the tyre of Steve Moore touched Brendan Stone. Steve Moore then straightening and making a few corrections, which is allowing Brendan Stone to lead this run and run that wide line that the judges have been asking for. Breathtaking entry there from Stephen Moore. Where they switch it around, it's Stephen Moore with a good entry, but Brendan Stone is there. He's just going to keep it a little bit consistent, Brendan here. He knows that there was a few small corrections from Stephen Moore, and putting in a good chase run. Brendan Stone again showing his consistency, and he'll be using that advantage to take a place in the final. So straight into our third and fourth place battle. Who is going to take that third step on the podium? David Waterworth with a great initiation and entry, but running wide, allowing Steve Moore to try and take that undertake. Steve Moore did not need asking twice. So Steve is going to use that as an advantage to try and take that third step on the podium, but David Waterworth, experienced drifter in the BDC, will not give it up without a fight. Let's see what's in store in the second run. So straight into the second run, third and fourth place battle. Steve Moore, the lead car, and a nudge there from David Waterworth, and David Waterworth spinning out. Steve Moore is going to just use that now to cruise through to take that third step. A small correction, but with David Walworth nowhere to be seen, we can guarantee the third spot for Steve Moore. So commiserations to David Walworth, but just listen to this V10, ladies and gentlemen. So it's final time, and we've got Brendan Stone going up against Mike Marshall. Brendan Stone as the lead car, but Mike Marshall, who has shown some fantastic driving here at Pembrey Circuit in that E36 BMW, is going to hunt Brendan down as best as he can. Brendan, though, is going to use the power from that Altezza to lead through that final corner, drifting wide, and to try and score maximum points. So it is down to the second run. Mike Marshall, the lead car, with a nice flick, but Brendan Stone, he's flicking it into that first corner. Nice and tight to Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall's going to try and extend the gap, but Brendan Stone isn't letting him pull away from him into this final section. This could be anyone's, ladies and gentlemen. One of these drivers will take the top spot. It is going to be a question of what the judges decide. So I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Brendan Stone does take the top spot. Michael Marshall in second place, and Steve Moore with a third place after some fantastic battles. So David Walworth may have come fourth and missed out on the third step. However, he leads the championship now with 41 points ahead of Team Jap Speed's Paul Smith.
At round one we had an engine failure, and we didn't have time to get it sorted for this round, so we brought the two JZ MG crash repairs on Pezza, and we weren't expecting this result.
A hot, sweaty and extremely smoky day here at Pembrey Race Circuit. Matt, talk us through the day a bit.
Oh, it's been really challenging the whole weekend for all the drivers. Judges have asked the drivers to go over a nice technical line, which has obviously pushed the talents to the maximum. So we've seen some different drivers in the top 32 and some new names in the top 16. So awesome weekend.
Yep, but unfortunately that's all we've got time for round two. But make sure you check us out next month when we're at Teesside Autodrome for round 3. And in the meantime, go hard or go home.